Next up is David Posner, and being it's not Friday, I guess he can speak.
So I started selling organic produce because I went to my high school. We called it a free school, and it was a commune up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And the first thing they told us when we showed up is make sure not to go to any classes unless you really, really want to go. And so my favorite class ended up to be the organic gardening class. While I was there doing the gardening, there were a lot of other communes up there in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We started what we called the food conspiracy. And we were going around to farmers market in San Francisco, that's the closest farmers market, and we were also picking up produce actually at the produce terminal in South San Francisco. And right around the time I graduated, which was in 1972, I read a book called The Silent Spring, and I realized, my goodness, went to a lot of Grateful Dead shows, met the hog farm, and we invited them up to live with us while we abolished tuitions and salaries. All the teachers left, except for me. So it was kind of like, well, I'll get the students together, and we'll grow some big gardens, take it down to Santa Cruz to sell. And one thing led to another. Got a truck with a blown engine, put a propane-powered engine in. It was back in when gas was short in the early 70s. And the next thing I knew, I was meeting all these hippies that had like fruit here and there, and so we were selling organic produce. I was originally delivering in Santa Cruz, and then I started a trucking route. Everything was loaded by hand, delivered by hand. It was a miracle when they invented the handheld calculator. and seriously, the way I met Charlie Hermans was, so back in the day, everything was unconventional, and we would rent abandoned fields. That was organic by default as far as fruit. So organic fruit was organic by default.
But we had an affidavit.
Yes. We were some of the first people to sell organic produce, and of course there was no certification yet. And like on all the farmers were like, well, what do you mean organic? It's all organic. Like actually, organic to us means you don't use any of these chemicals. And that was what our affidavit was. Anyway, we would get the fruit out of the field. We would either harvest it or arrange for harvest fruit. And the banana box was the typical container. Okay. So the way I met Charlie Hermans was I was living in Santa Cruz at the food bin in my propane-powered truck that had 2 side doors and a back door. And I was walking out with my check, and I saw this produce inspector guy walking in, and I knew because banana boxes were like illegal, it's contraband. So I went and I had padlocks, and locked all 3 doors, and I was getting ready to drive out, and he came over and said, like, look, I know you have fruit in banana boxes in the truck. I've gone to all your stores, I've red tagged it all, because he had done that before. And like, I know what you got in there. And I'm like, no, I gotta go. So he's like, please, just let me see your avocados. I promise I won't write you up. I won't see your avocados. Yeah. Nope. So I left, and he red tagged everything, and then I had all this. I'd go down to Coachella Valley and pick up the fruit, and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? And I was asking around, and somebody said, oh, I said I need to get it packed in like real cartons, like the way they normally pack it, road pack. Who was the only guy that had real cartons? Charlie. So somebody tells me, oh, there's this hippie guy down on 23rd and Monroe or something. So I pulled in there and I got a load of food and I said, "Can you pack this for me?" He did, and then that's how we started packing fruit, and one thing led to another. That's how I met Bill. I delivered the Veritable when Veritable first opened, when it was run by a couple of guys. Yeah. Veritable. And they had actually heard about me delivering in Santa Cruz, and their motto was "Food for people, not for profit." There was a dry goods. Conspiracy. I forget what they called it. I gotta run. So.